Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie and I'm joined by Bernard. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, Charlie. How are you doing? A bit warmer today, mate. It's almost spring-like, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah,
We're doing all right after that interesting game, to say the least, last night. Yeah, very interesting.
We'll get straight to it then. Last night it was Brentford 0, Man City 1. Phil Foden with the goal. What was your thoughts on the game last night, Bernard?
We weren't really at it, mate. Were we? To be honest with you, not particularly from the get-go. There was no real pace. By midway through the half, if Pepper had in the air, he'd be continually pulling it out, wasn't he? He's just his histrionics on that when the camera focused on him, with he just couldn't understand what was going on. Basically, we just didn't sort of play with any pace. I know Brentford put a lot of men behind the ball, and but that first half was quite scary because the referee sort of. I think he got a whistle for Chris. I think I mentioned he got a whistle for his Christmas present because he never stopped blowing it in that first half. And every time he blew it, it was for them. Even 50-50s he was giving Brentford. So, I mean, it was just those free kicks from the left. I know they were all right. We coped okay. They only had one or two big chances. But, we just didn't look quite at it last night. There's 2 or 3 players stood out last night and the rest of them were pretty bang average. And even that's been nice to some of them.
Yeah. We'll get to the team news then, of course, starting with City. The general 4-3-3 with Edison in goal, the back four of Ake starting at left back, Laporte, Diaz and Cancelo with Fernandinho, Bernardo and De Bruyne in midfield, Foden on the left, Jesus on the right, and Grealish was in the false 9, but that was changing throughout the match. What was your thoughts on the lineup, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, I thought I had a half of mine that he'd play Laporte left back and put Aki in the centre with Diaz, but obviously that didn't happen. Fortunately, it sort of worked out on the night. And obviously up front, I thought it didn't look too bad. If Gabby was sort of, pace of Gabby and Phil Foden, but it never sort of quite worked together with Jack Grealish. He's sort of slowed everything down. Played a false 9, wasn't he, I think, to start with, but as you said, he went out on the left and it never really worked. Obviously, we'll talk about him specifically, but it didn't quite work up front, did it? And obviously, Bernardo, again, he was just used as a sort of a guy to sort of ball carry. He wasn't used to any great prominence again. So on paper, it wasn't a bad team. As I say, once I knew Nathan Ake was playing left back, I think a few people were a bit miffed about that, but obviously they didn't have to be, did they? But no. It was win. Put it this way, we're playing Brentford, so that team should have been quite capable of having at least a 2 or 3 goal winning margin against Brentford.
Yeah. We'll go to the Brentford team then. They were in a 3-5-2 with Alvaro Fernandez in goal, a back three of Sorensen, Janssen and Pinnock, with Onyeka, Baptiste and Jensen in the midfield. Thompson was left wing back, Roaslev was right wing back, with Ivan Toney and Wissa up top. What was your thoughts on the Brentford team?
Well, they had 11 absentees, didn't they? I don't know how many key players. I know the long throw specialist was out, wasn't he? I don't know who he is, but I know they mentioned that because that worried me. Because us, we don't do very well against long throws. Remember Cheltenham last year? I mean, absolute shambles. So that was good in a way. Although they did have another guy who could throw it quite long, but I don't think he was their main guy. I think they must have a couple who do it. But they had 11 absentees. I don't think the bench. I mean, obviously once the game was played and we got to the second half, you just realised how weak they were. Really, I mean, I think I got 7 of that 11 right in my team. So even that team last night was a little bit changed to what I thought. So I think overall it was a pretty weak Brentford team as well. But he kept to his formation, Franks, and I like Franks. He's very animated. I like an animated manager, and he certainly was that, wasn't he? But I think it was considering the team they had out. As I say, it's probably the best they could do, but they did okay considering.
Yeah, big up Luca, big up Static, both in the chat as well. We'll look at these stats then. Brentford with 24% possession. We had 76%. 6 shots to 12. 2 shots on target to 3. 2 shots off target to 5. 2 block shots to 4. 3 corners to 5, no offsides to 3, 12 fouls to 10, no big chances to 1. We hit the woodwork once, Brentford didn't. 3 shots inside the box to 7, 3 shots outside the box to 5, 2 saves to 3, 217 passes to 716, 63% accurate passes to 89%, 27% accurate long balls to 58%, 10% accurate crosses to 14%, 33% accurate successful dribbles to 58%. Brentford lost the ball 115 times. We lost it 130. 44 duels, 1 to 48. 15 aerial duels, 1 to 18. 17 tackles to 11. 16 interceptions to 8. And 17 clearances to 10. Do you think those stats represent the game, Bernard?
Yeah, well, look at the shots total. Never mind shots on target. It was pretty pathetic by City, to be honest with you. It's probably half of what we'd expect in a decent game. We just didn't, and a lot of passes. It was still fair enough. There was still plus 700 passes or something. So obviously we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't doing anything with it in the crucial areas. And all credit to the way Brentford set the team out. Obviously, it was there to stifle, wasn't it? And then try and get the free kicks and try and get the ball into our box, and that's how they played, and that was the best option they had. But yeah, it wasn't. I think those stats show it wasn't the greatest attacking display by City, anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. And then the attack momentum graph looked like this. Brentford with some small periods, but we dominated the game again, didn't we, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, you say it was there. It was clear-cut chances, very few and far between. I had 2 goals offside, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're offside, so they don't count, do they? It's simple as that. But yeah, I mean, apart from the one that hit the post, that as soon as he hit it and you saw it, I thought it was going to hit the post anyway. I knew just where it went after it hit the post. That was the problem. But yeah, we just didn't do enough. We just didn't work them hard enough. We didn't get into him properly. There's only one guy I noticed running his socks off, or apart from what Bernardo always does, but only Foden seemed to want to press the keeper, press the defence. No one was going with him. He was on his own most of the time. Just a bit lacklustre. I called it lethargic in the first half. I said, hopefully we're not going to be as lethargic in the second half. And we weren't, but we weren't much better in the second half against a tiring Brentford team. We should have been able to pull them apart in that second half.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go to the players then, starting with Ederson. 3 saves, 1 high claim, 2 saves from inside the box, 21 touches, 64% accurate passes, 4 out of 9 accurate long balls as well. Thoughts on Ederson's performance?
Yeah, I mean, he did. Absolutely. I mean, obviously that save from Diaz, wasn't it, where he deflected it with his head. That was a good save. I won't say it's a fantastic save. It was a good save. But it was, all right, we got away with it after that, didn't we? Because that was when they had their big chance where it was headed off the line. But you couldn't blame Ederson for that. But I thought he was willing to come and grab things, be bold in his area. And I was quite happy with that because he seemed to want to do that last night. He doesn't always want to do it in games. He likes to stay. He's very much a goal line keeper. He doesn't, even for a big lad, he doesn't like to dominate his box. But I think he did to an okay extent last night. He didn't do anything. So for me, he had a good steady game, and say he wasn't tested too much. And I thought he looked less likely to do something rash last night. So I thought it was okay.
Yeah. At right back then was, of course, João Cancelo. We have also heard news today that Kyle Walker's back in training, which is a positive. So 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 3 tackles, 4 out of 10 ground duels were won, 3 out of 3 aerial duels were won. He lost the ball 22 times, 4 fouls. He was fouled once, 121 touches, 83% accurate passes, 1 key pass, none out of 1 accurate crosses, 5 out of 9 accurate long balls, and none out of 1 successful dribble attempts. Thoughts on Cancelo's performance?
Well, I put it out on my thing today. I thought it was absolutely awful, mate. I thought it was terrible last night. I had that sheet of paper that tell you about me crosses and ticks, and I give up after about 7 crosses against Cancelo. It was just that thing off the line was fine where he headed it off the line. I think he was involved with the goal as well, which is okay. But everything he did, every pass he made seemed to go to one of their players. And you said there 22, I think it was 22, was it, misplaced passes? Yeah. He was absolutely, and I've wrote it on my thing. I've got it on, I've even written down here, Cancelo, give it away again. Cancelo, a loose ball again. I mean, he was just consistent through the game. I mean, he was absolutely awful. I think he got my joint lowest mark last night. He probably got my lowest mark actually last night. I thought Cancelo, playing on his normal right side, don't forget, this is what he's supposed to be, a right-sided player. I thought he was pretty awful, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. 22 times. That's ridiculous.
I mean, I just knew that because within the first 20 minutes, apart from that header off the line, which was early doors, let's say I had 6 crosses against his name, and I don't put a cross unless you do 1 or 2 things wrong. I don't do it every time he does one thing wrong, but every time he looked up, he passed it. He passed it either into where no one was, or straight to one of their players. He was absolutely bobbins.
Yeah. Into the centre-backs then, of course, at right centre-back was once again Ruben Diaz. His stats look like this: 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won, 2 out of 5 aerial duels were won. He lost the ball 9 times, 1 foul. He was fouled once, 76 touches, 87% accurate passes, 4 out of 7 accurate long balls, 1 shot blocked as well. Thoughts on Diaz's performance?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought that Tony guy was a bit of a pain in the bum, wasn't he? And he struggled a little bit. I thought it was okay. As I said, someone said he started off pretty poorly. I didn't think. I thought he started off pretty well. He might have gone off a little bit in the first half, but I noticed him geeing the others up as well, which I like to see. You don't see many City players geeing up the team. I also noticed him do that a couple of times, which is great. I thought it was okay. Obviously, he wasn't as good as his partner. We're going to talk about in a minute. I thought he had a better game, but or the other 2 guys we're going to talk about. But I thought it was okay. I say he struggled a little bit, but he recovered, and as I said, we were all pretty safe in that second half because Brentford had nothing to offer really.
Yeah. He also tweeted after the match, Ruben Diaz, he said, "Massive 3 points today and a clean sheet. Great way to finish the year. Rest now and move on to the next." We'll move to Emerick Laporte then. His other partner. His stats look like this. 1 clearance, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won, 1 offside, 63 touches, 100% accurate passes, 5 out of 5 accurate long balls as well. Thoughts on Laporte's performance?
Yeah, I think he did all right. Because that Wieser wasn't too bad. I think he did all right with him. And of the pair of him and Diaz, I thought Laporte was the senior of the 2 last night, and he was very, very unlucky to have that goal struck off. They couldn't have been more than a couple of millimetres in that VAR decision from that free kick for his goal. He took it superbly, Laporte. It's a shame that was struck off because that would have sort of put a nice little finish for him. But I thought he played fine last night. I don't think any problems. I think he sort of rose to the occasion and sort of stood his ground.
Yeah. And then left back was Nathan Ake. We don't really see him play, to be fair, but he got his chance last night. His stats look like this. 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 1 interception, 2 tackles, 2 out of 4 ground duels were won, 4 out of 6 aerial duels were won. 11 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, 113 touches, 91% accurate passes, 1 out of 2 accurate long balls as well. Thoughts on Ake's performance?
Yeah, I mean, some people had him as man of the match, to be honest with you. I think they've gone a bit far, but I thought he has an excellent game. You know me, I always think he does a job for us. And I as I said, I wasn't overly happy with him starting at left back, but I thought he did okay. I certainly didn't do any worse than Zinchenko's been doing. So no, I thought he had a good game, Aki, last night. As for the fact that no one really fancied him, and I think he linked up pretty well with Foden as well, and obviously Bernardo was there. But I think some nice link-up play with Foden. Yeah, it was neat and tidy, I think, and that's what we sort of normally expect from Aki without too many problems.
Yeah. Into the midfield then, of course, and actually we've got a few quotes from Laporte. I forgot to go through these. He said, finishing the year the best way. Congrats, Phil Foden, on the goal. We keep going. He also said, we're very happy with our position in the Premier League and we have to keep working, stay focused in what we have to do to win the Premier League, and this is what we will do. So yes, very happy with everything in 2021. He also said, on Fernandinho, he's very calm, gives us a lot of tranquility. He played very simple, so we're happy to have him as City captain. He managed well on the pitch, but he's a great person off the pitch as well. We're all happy with him. We'll move on to Fernandinho then. He was on the pitch for the whole game, of course. We actually didn't make a sub throughout the game. 98 touches, 90% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 4 out of 6 accurate long balls, 1 shot off target, 1 shot blocked, 2 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 6 out of 7 ground duels were won, 2 out of 3 aerial duels were won, 9 times he lost the possession, 1 foul. He was fouled 3 times, 2 clearances, 1 tackle as well. Thoughts on Fernandinho's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, well, it suited him. I think playing Brentford are a physical side, and he likes the physical game. Against quick-footed midfielders, he might struggle a bit now with his age, and he has done, obviously, when he has played for us recently. But he loved it. I mean, a bit of the old dark arts, a bit of getting away with a couple of little niggly fouls without getting booked, and that's what Fernand's good at, which is fantastic. Yeah. And he was also, again, he did those little dinks over the top. I don't think he quite came off at one stage. But again, going forward, he looked good as well. He looked excellent going forward as well as sort of running around that middle, mixing it up with their big guys. A lot bigger than him, but obviously he stands his ground, doesn't he? So yeah, very good from Fernand last night. He was my probably him and Aki were my second best players on last night.
Yeah. He also said on a tweet, we'll just get this up now. Tough match and an important win, +3 points. Now let's focus on the next challenge. We'll move then to KDB in the midfield. His stats looked like this. Let me just get him here. Here we go. He got the assist, of course. 87 touches, 84% accurate passes, 3 key passes, 2 out of 12 accurate crosses, none out of 1 accurate long balls, 1 big chance created, 1 shot on target, 3 shots off target. He hit the woodwork once, 3 out of 5 ground duels were won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 22 times he lost the possession as well. 1 clearance, 3 tackles, and he was dribbled past twice. Thoughts on De Bruyne's performance?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's like he lost possession as many times, obviously, as someone I slagged off before, didn't he, Cancelo? But the thing is with De Bruyne, when he loses possession, he's trying to create something up near the goal usually, so it's not as devastating. But there was a couple where I thought, oh, Kevin, what are you doing? Where it sort of put them on the front foot, and we had to sort of backtrack a little bit. So he wasn't perfect by any means, obviously, but certainly that goal was fantastic. It was a typical KDB ball. I mean, inch perfect, really. At least, Foden that time was a couple of millimetres on the right side of the VAR line. So, yeah, again, it's a bit more of our Kevin. Some of his shoot, all right, he hit the post, that was a good one, but some of the other shots he took, I mean, didn't even worry the keeper. They were over the bar or wide. I can't remember what. So I was a bit disappointed with that. I want, Kevin's going to keep shooting. At least make the keeper do some work. I think there's one where the keeper saved it quite comfortably to his left. It sort of tried to bend round, but he didn't. So yeah, a bit more like the old Kevin. And yeah, but there was once or twice when I thought, oh Kev, please, well, don't try that there. But then you lost it for us. So that is a worry against better teams. No disrespect to Brentford. Brentford, but obviously he is trying now, and it looks as though he's getting back to some fitness. He's playing full games, and so that can't be bad, can it? And as I say, great assist. Could have had a couple of goals. Not bad.
Yeah. And then he had a tweet as well. We're just going to get this up here. Actually, sorry, it was a start. Since his debut in 2015, De Bruyne has provided 78 Premier League assists, at least 27 more than any other player in that time. We'll move then to Bernardo Silva. His stats look like this: 93 touches, 91% accurate passes, 1 key pass, none out of 2 accurate crosses, 2 out of 4 accurate long balls, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won. 11 times he lost the possession, 1 offside, 1 clearance, 1 block shot, and 1 tackle. Thoughts on Bernardo's performance?
Yeah, I mean, that heat map, he looked a bit as though he's further forward than I thought he was playing on based on that heat map you just showed me there. Yeah, I would have thought a bit more to our own half there. Because I said, I just thought he sort of was limited to sort of trying to help the left-hand side, trying to keep that side happy. But that's where our left. Where did we get most? So it was our right where we were struggling. When it was Cancelo, that's where all the free kicks were coming from Brentford, etc. Yeah, again, I want to see Bernardo. You know me, I want to see him near that box. That's where I think he's most effective. And I think that heat map probably is where he finished his runs rather than where he started. And that's the point I want. I think he'll be a bit further up the pitch, a heat map, if he's playing where I want him to play. And I just think he worked to help Fernandinho, to be honest with you. Because obviously, Third has played a couple of games, in 4 days now, and whether he'll be, there looks as though he could play against Arsenal, couldn't it? Obviously, Rodri's still not around, so unless he puts Gundogan in there, which he's done before, which is a worry. But I think he did that. I think he played Bernardo to help Fernandinho, which probably worked. Certainly Ferner had a great game, so perhaps he had a great game because Bernardo was doing some of the shovel work, some of the basic ball work. So, yeah, fine. But not, you wouldn't rate him highly, but just a good team effort from Bernardo. He just took one for the team again.
Yeah. We'll move then to Gabrielle Jesus, who was on the right-hand side. 1 shot on target, 2 shots blocked, 3 out of 5 successful dribble attempts, 68 touches, 80% accurate passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, none out of 1 accurate long balls, 6 out of 13 ground duels were won, 3 out of 6 aerial duels were won. 18 times he lost the possession, 2 fouls. He was fouled twice, 1 clearance, 1 interception, and 1 tackle. Thoughts on Jesus' performance?
I thought he was very quiet last night. As I say, even when he's not on form, he's usually a bit of a pain, but I don't think we've sort of utilised that side as much as perhaps we should have done with Jesus. And obviously, he was a bit unlucky towards the end, wasn't he, when he had that sort of went on a bit of a run and obviously pulled the keeper pulled out an okay save, but that was right near the end of the game. I mean, to be honest, until then, I'd hardly really noticed him that much, and he's controlled, I think, at least 2 occasions where he just miscontrolled the ball and he went out for a throw-in. Not his greatest game for me last night, Jesus.
Yeah, I remember him doing one of those in the first half as well, where it was just silly, to be honest.
Not one to put into the mind of Pep, or I can't drop him sort of thing. Put it that way. So a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah. He said on a tweet, last match of the year with a win. Let's keep fighting for more in 2022. Come on, City. Plus 3 points. We'll move on to the goal scorer then, Phil Foden. His stats look like this. Of course, he scored the goal. 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, 1 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 69 touches, 90% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 5 accurate crosses, 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 4 out of 8 ground duels were won. None out of 3 aerial duels were won. 14 times he lost the possession. He was fouled 3 times, 1 offside as well. Thoughts on Foden's performance?
Yeah, I mean, he had to get back in Pep's good books, mate, didn't he? I think
Yeah.
I think that was on his mind last night because, as I said, he never stopped. He never stopped for me, and the fact he's not been playing matches, he did very well to last 90 minutes. And he's only a young lad into it, but he trains. But obviously, playing in a match is slightly different, isn't it? Especially with the long grass as well. We've not mentioned the long grass, have we? I think the grass was let to grow a little bit to stop our fast flowing football. So we didn't mention that. Perhaps that sort of stopped us just a little bit, our pacey play and quick passes and stuff like that. But yeah, Phil Foden I thought he was brilliant last night. A great goal. He nearly had another one just strayed a little bit offside, didn't he? Unfortunately for the headers. Was it a header? I think it was. No, he was for me. He was outstanding last night, and I think he had to be. There's two players played last night who had to really prove themselves, him and another guy I'm going to talk about in a minute. And as far as Phil Foden's concerned, he did that with spades.
Yeah, he just did what he needed to do, to be honest, Foden. Yeah. He also said on a tweet, goal and 3 points, no better way to end the year. He also said around Christmas time, you can't really take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going, stay focused. And this team's doing that. We'll talk about the guy I think you was talking about there then. Jack Grealish next up. His stats look like this. 1 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 63 touches, 94% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 3 out of 8 ground duels were won, 2 out of 5 aerial duels were won, 9 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, he was fouled twice, and 2 interceptions. Thoughts on Grealish's performance?
Yeah, it's funny that because I mean I've read an article today about Grealish and last night and what he did, and I don't remember it, but those stats are showing perhaps he was better than I thought he was last night. I thought he was up down there with Cancelo as far as last night's performance is concerned. But as I say, those stats sort of back that up. So because I read this article, I thought perhaps I've been too judgmental. I know he did win us a few free kicks, but he was winning the free kicks around the centre spot, which is, I want him to win the free kicks on round about the edge of the box, you know what I mean, where we can make something of it. But I just thought it was quiet. But then again, on the basis that the whole team were quiet and the pace wasn't great, I just thought, and he was asked to play that number 9, which he's not used to playing. He's just come back from not playing for God, I don't know how many matches he's missed. So, Pep sort of dropped him in it, said, yeah, I'd do it. And he didn't quite have as much success as Phil Foden did, but Phil Foden's been around a bit longer and knows what he's doing, perhaps more than Jack Grealish. So, as I say, I didn't mark him very highly, but, on reflection of 24 hours late, 18 hours later, whatever it is, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but obviously I'll have to stick with my original impression that he had a poor game overall. But as I say, I don't think it was that bad based on those stats, if you just look at stats. But yeah, he struggled, didn't he? He struggled to get involved at all last night. I don't remember him going on any great runs or, as I said, but he did try for a run, he got fouled. So, I mean, that's about summed it up last night for Jack Grealish. He had no chance to take anybody on or do anything with it.
Yeah. He also said on a tweet, got just what we came for at a tough place to come. Well done to the team. We'll move on to the manager then. Pep, did he get it right last night?
Yeah, well, I get it. He didn't. I don't think he had many options. I was surprised that either Sterling or Mahrez didn't start. Certainly Mahrez. I mean, he's sodding off, isn't he? After the Arsenal game, does he go to AFCON?
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, I would have played him till he dropped. So I would have played him last night, and I would have played him against Arsenal a couple of days later. I wouldn't have bothered me one iota because he's swanning off. But then again, perhaps we wouldn't have got the best out of him anyway if he did that. But I was a bit surprised by that. But yeah, given the fact we've got no stock, we had no John Stones, we got no Walker, we got no Rodri. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, you and me looking at that squad wouldn't perhaps have played too much of a different team to what Pep played. But the thing about Pep was obviously they weren't doing what they were told, because you could just see from his body language. Not as much in the first half, where I thought we were worse. I mean, we weren't much better in the second, but in the second half, as I said, he was pulling his proverbial hair out. It was just, he was just so frustrated. And yet he'd had them in at half time to tell him what he wanted. And presumably why he was so irate the second half was because he was just falling back into not doing what they were told again. So, yeah, he was a bit frustrated last night. But given the squad, we've got a fairly fit squad compared to other people. But given his options, I think that's probably the best team he could play. But we just lacked that fizz last night as a team, and sometimes that happens whether Pep has anything to do with it or not. There's now he can do once the guys go out there. I think he wanted better. I think we all wanted better. We didn't want to be hanging on 1-0 against Brentford into the 90th minute, did we? And anything can happen, like Chelsea found out themselves pretty obviously half an hour earlier. So, yeah, he did okay, but I think he didn't quite get the best out of his team yesterday for whatever reason.
Yeah. So some of the quotes Pep said, there's quite a few, so we'll go through these quickly. He says it was the best performance we could play. So intelligent because they are the best team in the Premier League on set pieces with the chance they had on the first corner. He also said the second half was much better. We played the game in this stadium against this team, how it must be played. The quality of the players made the difference. It's a good victory. Now we recover as much as possible because at 12:30 on New Year's Day we have another game. He also said we won a game, but we are at the end of December with many games to play. We are 8 points in front, but with 54 still to play. The team, after all the years together, still fight. He also said today we needed this type of rhythm. Every time they put the ball into the box, they are so good. Just look at the results Brentford have done this season. It has been so tight. They are exceptional at what they do, and that's why the game we played was perfect today. Another quote, there's quite a few here. Outstanding since he came up to train and play. This is about Phil Foden. He can play different positions at an exceptional level. He's always good, no doubt. He does not need to prove anything to me. He needs to enjoy football like he did as a little boy. He also said, exceptional with Phil. He's already a football player. We don't have any doubts about his quality. We knew it since he came to play with us. He's always been exceptional. And finally, De Bruyne has something unique in the world, and we know it. De Bruyne is an exceptional player. So there quite a few things Pep had to say there. Do you agree with most of those?
He's covered his players, mate, really. I think he'd be disappointed with yesterday. I think he's obviously doing the usual Pep stuff. He's saying nice things about him. Certainly what he said about Foden was absolutely spot on, of course it was. And KDB, he's doing the old sound bites, but yeah, he's doing that. He's defending his players. I think behind closed doors, I think he'd have a bit more to say. I think he won't be saying what he's saying to the press. That's for sure, because you could just tell by his body language that wasn't what he was thinking during that game. How wonderful we are against this wonderful. I think he was getting so irate because we were giving these free kicks away. What one thing you would say to your players against a team like Brentford: don't give silly free kicks away. And we were certainly that first half. We were terrible. And I say you've got a referee who's obviously, no offence to the referee, leaning towards them in a way. They get all the 50-50s, which is okay, fair enough. They're the small team, we're the big team. In a way, that's perhaps how it should be. I know it shouldn't be, but So I think that was how he got irate. But the second half, I think because he knew they were tired, he couldn't probably understand why we weren't pushing a little bit more and getting that second and third goal, because they had nothing. They didn't have anything to offer, Brentford, for the last 10 or 15 minutes. When you think they might have been going for an equaliser, they just had nothing left. They had nothing to give. They had nothing to come off the bench. So I think that's why he was getting so irate, because it was still 1-0. And even if they got nothing to give, it doesn't mean a goalkeeper can't punch it upfield and they just get a fluky goal right at the end, something like that. So, I think he's obviously saying something different to the press as opposed to what he probably thought and said to the guys in the dressing room after the game.
Yeah. Thomas Frank, then, the opposition manager, of course, said First half, Brentford were unbelievable. We gave one chance away against Man City. We have the lowest budget. They have the richest budget, the best players, the best manager. He had to bring money into it, of course. Why not just talk
They
about
all
the
do,
match?
don't they? We all have to live within our means. All right, you got a ground that holds 17,000. You're not going to have a big budget. It's simple as that. So yeah, he is struggling, but it's not our fault. It's not City's fault that we run well, and we've got the money. We've won trophies to win money. We won things. That's the difference. So it's not, at the end of the day, the best team won, and he should just. I do like him as a manager. As I said, he's well animated. I quite like him, but it doesn't mean anything. So what? Yeah, we know that it's not rocket science. Of course, it isn't. But it's just reading between the lines. You know what he's trying to get at there, and it is wrong because everyone falls for the same line, about City, and even more so than teams like United and Liverpool. It's City that get all, the big budget, but it's not because of, we don't deserve it because we don't, we haven't earned it and all this rubbish. It's absolute garbage.
Yeah. We'll move on to Brentford then. How do you think they played?
Yeah, I think once they get the guys back, I mean, obviously the 9 points clear, I think, of Burnley, aren't they? I think Burnley got a couple of games in hand, but obviously the others are down there as well. They're organised, and you can see that he organises them, even though he's putting in a lot of, if you like, second string players. They're still pretty well organised, and they have the style, don't they? The style is free kicks, long throws, that sort of thing, and that's how Brentford play. And they play like the fans are enjoying it, and I think the players are enjoying it as well because there's no real pressure on them. And I think they'll be safe. I think they'll stay up. I think they'll finish more or less where they are now. I think they're about 14th or something like that at the moment, so in that position. I mean, they might totally implode, but they start getting players back, then I think they'll pick up more points. At the moment, they're struggling because they've got 11 absentees out of the squad for whatever reason, injuries, COVID, whatever it is. So I think they will be all right. I think there's certainly 3 teams worse than them at the moment in that division at this point in time. Obviously, there's still half the season to go, isn't there? So, you never know, but they should be safe. They're okay. They are what they are. I wasn't impressed with them as I thought I would be, seeing snippets on Match of the Day every week. I thought they looked a little bit better, but as I said, there's reasons for that, i.e. half the team's missing. So that doesn't help, does it?
No, definitely not. Ivan Toney, he annoyed me a bit throughout the game, to be honest. But he said, not the best kick about year 11 stole our ball. Basically, Brentford hardly had the ball. That's what he's saying. But when they had a big chance in the first half, Cancelo heading it off the line. So they did have their chances to get the goal. Fortunately, they didn't. We'll talk about the referee then, David Coote. How do you think he did?
Yeah, I don't think he's usually that bad, but I thought it was awful last night. I just thought he just got, as I say, he was too whistle happy. He was letting minor things, he was pulling minor things up, and once you start pulling that, you just stop start, and there's no flow to the game, which suited Brentford. It doesn't suit City not to have, if you want to beat City, you go 1-0 up and disrupt play continually, and that's how teams beat City, just by doing, not playing football basically, and Coote encouraged that by just blowing his whistle all the time. And there was some, you've got, as a referee, you've got to punish the bad things and let certain things go. Let the players be made aware that you will allow certain 50-50 things to go, but obviously you clamp down on anything hard, and he gets that. He got that mixed up last night. There's a couple of things he missed that he should have perhaps clamped down on, and he was blowing for things that he didn't need to blow for. So a pretty poor from. He's not the most experienced referee. I don't know how long he's been about, but he's not one of the senior ones who are bad enough. But this, he's got all the hallmarks there of being as bang average or awful as most of them. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with him at all. I thought he was. I'm sure I've seen him before. He's ref better than that. I just thought. It's just it wasn't a big occasion, but I just think the atmosphere in the place and the under the lights of the old scallions, Brentford, the old underdogs against the nasty boys from up north. I just thought he got carried out totally. Rather than, I would have liked to see a bit more what's the word? Like some of the guys, I think they're the centre of attention. I don't mind him being the centre of attention as long as he's making getting his point across and making sure he's making the right decisions. It was just rubbish. I thought it was pretty rubbish, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We'll look next up then at your man of the match. Who do you give it to?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, obviously people were coming up with Aki. Some people were coming up with Ferner. Obviously, just looking at the evening news, I mean, they had Fernandinho at 8 out of 10. But yeah, mine was definitely Phil Foden. Even before I saw what the evening news were doing, he was. He never stopped, and he had to really. I think he had to show Pep. I'm sorry, mate. I'll be a good boy from now on. I'll get, as I say, he was running a lonely track sometimes up pitch, you know, trying to close down the keeper and the defenders on his own, and sometimes he didn't have anyone helping him out. But yeah, because Grealish wasn't going to help him out. I don't know where Grealish was half the time up front, but there you go. So yeah, definitely Phil Foden for me was the from Aki and Ferner. I thought who were excellent last night.
Yeah. Big up Mike in the chat as well. The next thing we'll look at is the Premier League table. Chelsea dropped points last night, which means we're now 8 points clear at the top of the table with 18 games to play. In the season. Of course, Liverpool have a game in hand as well. They're 9 points behind. Good day overall then yesterday, results-wise, weren't it, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got to. I think Arsenal is probably the toughest away game we've got left. I don't think we would have said that about 6 weeks ago. Everyone's thinking Arsenal's going to be another quite easy victory, but they've only lost one at home all season. They've been quite good at home. It's away, they're rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish away from the Emirates. It's terrible. They've only drawn one, lost one, and won 7, I think, at home in the league. So it won't be easy because they've got play depending on what team we put out. I mean, obviously if Rodri's not there, but hopefully, and it may be too soon for Walker. I know we saw him training, but it might be too soon for him. So, yeah, I'm thinking that if Chelsea play Liverpool, which they do this week, they can't both win. So even if it ends up a draw, I mean, if the worst comes to the worst and we just draw with Arsenal, or God forbid we get beat, it's not a total disaster, but it'd be nice after all these years of using Emirates as a training ground to carry on doing that. But I think it's going to be tough. But it was still that it was with them points ahead. Come next Monday evening, I'll be well chuffed. Whatever happens anyway. At least as long as we're those, as I say, if Liverpool beat Chelsea, so be it. But that'll knock Chelsea back, won't it? So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. 6 points clear of Liverpool, that'd do me anyway if they win the game in hand. So. Yeah, interesting. As I say, it's we have. I always forget we've been in this position before. A couple of times, obviously 2011, 12, and 17, 18 was it, or 18, 19? I always seem to think we're always behind, and I never remember us being top at Christmas. But I think 11, 12 we were top, but then we dropped again, didn't we? So I always imagine now we're top. I don't want us to drop. I want us to stay there. So it's still 18 games. It's a long time, but be interesting. I mean, if we beat Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool draw, I mean, it just gets better and better, mate, doesn't it? And then we've got Chelsea at home, so we'll know that. We'll probably by the end of January, we'll probably know if it could be on the cards, if we could start to dream again that we can do it again.
Yeah, big up Niall as well in the chat. A few stats then from last night. City now have the most English top flight calendar wins in a year with 36. Liverpool in second with 33. That was in 1982. And in 2005, Chelsea got 32. 8 points clear then. Most Premier League wins in 2021. Most Premier League points in 2021. 10th consecutive Premier League win. Fewest Premier League defeats in 2021. Most clean sheets in 2021 in the Premier League. And most Premier League goals scored in 2021 as well. Some more stats. I like that picture of Pep as well. The most wins.
That wasn't last night, was it? Was it last night? Might have been early doors last night. Might have been before the game kicked off, yeah.
Most Premier League wins in 2021 with 36. Most points, 110. Most goals, 113. 24 clean sheets and 6 defeats. And in December as a whole, 7 wins, 1 defeat, 25 goals scored, 7 conceded. Sterling scored 5. Mahrez got 3 assists, 8 points clear as well at the top of the Premier League. Some transfer news then. Man City yet to contact Hamburg regarding Tommy Doyle's loan or whether they want to terminate it in early January. The German side are hoping for clarity on the situation sooner rather than later. Do you think Tommy Doyle could become a first team regular in the future?
Well, going on, apart from learning the German culture for a few months, I mean, he's played 71 minutes, hasn't he? I read today in total, which is absolutely ridiculous. What is the point? I mean, he could be here learning and playing a couple of games, on the bench and getting a game in the first team era. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how that's allowed. I mean, I think we have guys who look after these loan players, don't they? Go over to the countries and see they're all right and see how they're settling in and have words with the teams they're playing for and stuff like this. But I mean, what is the point of loaning someone to play 70? He may as well have trained here. I just don't understand. Don't understand what's happened there. There's sort of something wrong. I mean, surely is it because he's not good enough? If he's not good enough to play in the team, then send him home. What's the point of, he may as well train here. I know it's nice for him seeing a bit of new culture, but he's not got his family with him, has he? So it can't be good for him either. So I just think it's ridiculous, mate. I mean, I think some of the other, when the other guys have gone places, they've played plenty of games, and this is the first one I've seen make such a pathetic. I remember the goalkeeper who went out, and then I think he went to Forest, didn't he? The big lad who went eventually, but I can't remember his name now. Yeah. I mean, he sort of got dropped and ended up not playing because he just wasn't good enough, which is fair enough, you know what I mean? But it's ridiculous. Tommy Doyle needs to play football. What use is just turning up for training every day and sat on the bench? It's just ridiculous, really. And City should sort it out and get him back. Simple as that. I don't know what they're waiting for over there, Hamburg, because obviously they've not done their part of the bargain. I'm sure the reason for him going over there was to get some time in the Bundesliga, and he hasn't. So not good enough.
Yeah. And then some news here. Borussia Mönchengladbach have announced that Denny Cicario will leave the club in the summer upon the expiry of his contract. Back in November, City had expressed an interest in Cicario with Juventus and United also making contact. He's a holding midfielder. For me, he shouldn't be the priority. We need a centre forward. That is the final piece in the puzzle, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're gonna need backup for Rodri next season.
Yeah.
Obviously, is it Lavia who plays that role in the EDS? Is it Lavia?
Yeah.
He's nowhere near ready, obviously, to back up there. So we do need someone to back up. Obviously, you're talking that guy at West Ham, is it Rice? Is it or whatever?
Yeah, Declan Rice. Yeah.
I mean, he's quality, but he wouldn't. He's not going to be a backup. He wouldn't come to a club to be a backup. I don't think he is a quality player. And let's face it, the way Rodri's progressed, that's all we need. We just need a bit of cover for him. So you're going to need a player who isn't expecting to play every week and be the number one, or a player who can adapt to that position. And I don't think we've got anyone at the moment at City. As I said, I know we have tried other players in that position. Gundogan, I heard he wanted to try Stones in that position at one time. I don't know what thoughts were on that, but I'm sure Pep knows. But it's apart from that, I mean, as you say, we need something. We need a striker, definitely. We need defensive cover, mate. I mean, this has shown us the last 3 or 4 games. We just don't have the defensive cover. And Cancelo's great, but obviously when, you play him on the wrong side, he's superb. You start playing him on his own side, and he's a disaster. So it doesn't bode very well. So I think defensively we need something. Whether again there's anyone in the academy is good enough to cover, I'm not too sure. We're all right for centre halves. We've got excellent centre. We've got 4 great centre halves there, as long as they're all fit and well. So a defender. We certainly don't need a midfielder as such, but we need a striker, as you said. But we do need cover for Rodri.
Yeah, definitely. And then on New Year's Day, we have Arsenal away. There's some Pep Guardiola is unsure whether Rodri will be available for the match on Saturday, and Kyle Walker has returned to training, which is very positive news. Just before we go to you, Bernard, big up Chelsea fan Ankit and T-Show in the chat. Bernard, how are you feeling for the game on Saturday then?
Yeah, I don't think Rodri will be playing. Don't think there's a cat and else chance he'll be playing. To be honest with you, I don't even think we'll see him on the bench. But I'd love to see it. But I mean, we've got we get this Arsenal out of the way. We've got Swindon away and then Chelsea, but it's 2 weeks. We can get all the guys back, can't we, in that space of time, unless they catch COVID or something stupid, something rubbishy like that. But so we're not going to see Rodri and surely Walker's not going to be ready for this Arsenal game. To be honest with you, if he's only just come back to training, which he has. So yeah, I'm sticking with the back four we had against Brentford, against Arsenal. Will it be good enough? We'll see how brave they are. Yeah, I mean, I know we don't do preview shows. I'm going to do one with some Arsenal fans now. I thought last season when we beat them 1-0, Sterling scored after 2 minutes, if you remember, back in February. And I thought if Arsenal had been a bit braver, Arteta had been a bit braver, they could have got something out of that game because we weren't quite firing, but we looked comfortable because Arsenal never really troubled us that much. And I'm thinking now that obviously, are they going to be a little bit braver now and go for it? I said they've got a good home record. So I do worry if that team, put it this way, we put that team out we put out against Brentford. It could be an interesting game. And I say that, all right, it could put Sterling and Mahrez back in, which for Grealish, perhaps Grealish and Jesus would drop out. Put them to the other two, but I can't see many more changes to that. Can you really? Just 2 changes to that team, so they're going to have to perform a lot, and I think they will perform better. We play better against better teams, of course we do. We raise our game. It's like at any level of football. If you play a better opponent, you usually raise your game to play a better opponent. I think Arsenal are very, very good at the moment, but we know psychologically we've got the edge on them, so we can't let them win this because all of a sudden that edge will go now for this next season, the season after, whenever it is. So we need to up the game, certainly from the Brentford one, and we know we can. We play well against big teams, and I think Arsenal are one of the big teams at the moment. They're 4th in the league, and they're playing some great stuff. They can't play away from home. But it'd be interesting to see with Arteta missing as well. He's not on the bench, is he? So it'll be interesting to see because he's quite histrionic. He's quite active, isn't he? As a coach on the touchline, he's shouting. He gets involved. He never did at City, but he does at Arsenal. I've noticed more. He just used to sit quiet at City. Even when Pep was laid up and he took charge, he wasn't exactly shouting at the players, sort of thing. But I think he's learned how to do that now at Arsenal. He's got a lot more confidence. So I think it'll be a tough one, mate. I think it'll be a tough game. I might take. If you offered me a draw now, I might take it, but we should beat him. We should beat him. But I'm just a bit worried without Rodri and Walker. We can let go. I think there'll be goals. I mean, probably 0-0 now, but I think there should be goals in it. To be honest with you, as long as Arsenal if Arsenal are brave and go toe to toe with us, they could get something. If they don't, then we'll probably beat them. If they're not, if they go in, if they defend or do, what they did last in February. I remember in February they were awful. They didn't have a go. They didn't try. They were scared. If they show us too much respect, they'll get beat. But if they have a go, I think they've got a chance of getting one over. It won't be a disaster for us as long as Chelsea and Liverpool are playing each other and they draw or whatever. It's not going to be a total disaster if we get beat. But we're going to have to play a lot better than we did. And as I say, with that, I know it's only 2 players, Rodri and Walker, but I think they're at the moment this season they've been 2 of our key players. I think defensively.
Yeah. Arsenal haven't beat us since the 23rd of April 2017. That was the FA Cup semi-final where Arsenal won it in extra time. I think Arteta's also got COVID, so he won't be in the dugout on Saturday.
No, he'll be at home or whatever. I don't know who's their second in command. I don't know who their second guy is, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure.
Has Vieira got COVID? I know it's a totally different subject, but I've noticed their guys. He's not been there, has he, for Palace?
And Gerrard's got it as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm surprised actually. I mean, with the manager, I mean, he has contact with the players that all of a sudden Arsenal aren't coming down with COVID or something like that, you know. But this is the second time he's had it, isn't he? He had it at the very start of COVID as well. He had obviously another strain, of course, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, at this point in time, it's still going ahead. It's less than it's less than 48 hours away now. It's only 36 hours away or something like that. So. Yeah, be an interesting game. I think it'll be a good game for the neutral. I'm not looking for that forward to it. Actually, I will do if we win, of course, but a bit of trepidation. My first visit to the Emirates, I've never been before, so been to Highbury. So I'm looking forward to it. Hoping it goes ahead, and I'm not looking forward to getting up at 3:30 on my day off. But there you go on New Year's Day. But
New Year's Day as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the only reason I got. Obviously these games, I only get tickets because other people. I'm not going to that. I had a chance for Swindon. I had a chance for a Swindon ticket, but I just haven't got enough money. I haven't got enough money, and I can't get the time off work because I work on the Saturday, so I've no chance to be back for 3:00 in the morning on the Saturday morning because it kicks off at 8:00 Friday night, doesn't it? The Swindon game. Yeah. So, but I would have loved. I've never been there, so I would have loved to have gone there, but I just looked at my bank balance as well, so I thought no. I nearly said, "Oh, sod it, I'll try and swap with someone at work and give." Oh, no, save your money, Bernard. You know, forget it. Just be sensible.
Yeah. And new ground. Cheltenham last year proved to be tougher than expected. Maybe that Swindon game will be tough as well.
Well, at least I can relax in that. Even if it's not great, I can never relax. Even when we're winning 2 or 3-0, I never relax. Me, last night I was not a nervous wreck, but I couldn't relax till that final whistle went. Even though we were totally in charge, it's just I just can't. So it's really hard for me. I never have been able to, so I never change.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up there then. But just before we wrap it up, where can we find you, mate?
Yeah, if you get me on Twitter at Bernard Deneen, at Charles Deneen, and spell Deneen DINN, or stick that in any search engine, and I'll pop up, obviously, my little YouTube Citizen channel for everything City, past and present, and a little film and TV channel as well. So if you enjoy films, I give my little views on films and reviews. I used to have a video shop back in the 1990s and 2000s, so I've always loved films. So give you my little Michael Parkinson type film reviews on there as well. So just follow me at Twitter at Charles Deneen. Everything's on there.
Yeah, big up, mate. Cheers for coming on again.
No
you can find me at MCFC Hips on Twitter, here Dugout Daily on YouTube as well. We're live again at 6:00 for a New Year's football quiz. We got a bunch of questions. We'll just look at all two questions on every card as well. We could be here from.
I couldn't face it, mate. I just couldn't face that. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I mean, my head's so swilled at the moment. I couldn't even think about that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're live again at 6:00. So everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe as well. Everybody, stay safe, take care, and come on, City. See you in a bit.